Hey everybody, welcome to the show. It's show 6 of 2015, and it is about U-Hauls and judges. That's what I'm calling this show tonight. If you are listening for the first time to the show, this is the Off Limits show. I'm doing the gay mass version of the Off Limits show tonight, where we talk about gay stuff, all gay all the time, gay action all the time. Anyway, we're talking about whatever's on my mind tonight, but I have a couple things in mind, obviously. Before I get to that, if you want to know more about me, you can go to offlimitshow.com, you can go to Spreaker.com, you can go to iTunes and subscribe to the podcast there. You can also listen on the website, as I said, offlimitshow.com, and on Facebook, we are there, as well as on Twitter. So be sure and check me out any place you can, and I'm happy to have you as a listener. So thank you. So the first thing I'm talking about tonight is the fact that I had an accident today, a car accident. I was driving to the doctor's office to get my annual checkup, where they do draw blood and check your cholesterol and your, all that crap. And I was literally across the street from it when this happened, and I was in a turn lane, a left turn lane. a turn lane to turn left onto another street. And there's 2 turn lanes, and I was in the far right one. And I was just going about my business. And then this U-Haul that had a trailer on the back of it, like it was carrying a car or something behind. I can't remember what. It pulled in front of me in my lane, and out of their straight lane, they pulled into my left turn lane. And right in front of me, and scraped my car up on the front right side and pulled the front right bumper off of my Beamer. I was very fucking mad. So I pulled over to the parking lot of my doctor's office, got out, and we exchanged information and all that stuff. And then I went about my day. But it was, disheartening. Fortunately, it wasn't a lot of damage. There was no mechanical damage. It still drives. Everything's fine mechanically, except the front right light is fucked up, and the little washer that washes the front lights is fucked up, and there's scrapes all on the front right panel, and of course the bumper's cracked in half. So there'll probably be like $3,000 worth of damage, but fortunately I'm fully insured, so it won't cost me anything. But anyway, that was fun. So I had that, and then I had my checkup for the year, and I'll know the results of that, the blood work, next week. So that was a fun way to start my day. But I did that today, and then there was news about the upcoming hearing on the Fifth Circuit Court here in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas in regards to gay marriage. And in Texas, there was a judge who ruled in 2013 that the state's same-sex marriage bans were unconstitutional. Actually, 2014, a year ago almost, he ruled that. His name was Judge Orlando Garcia. And ever since then, the ruling has been on hold. And they put it on hold because Greg Abbott, at the time, the attorney general, who's now going to be our governor, he's a horrible person, by the way. He's like just as bad as Perry, but in a wheelchair. Anyway, he's a horrible person. He put it on hold because he doesn't believe in gay marriage or whatever, just like most Texans don't, and the Republicans that ruled the state. And so he has been on hold ever since then. And so now finally it's being forced to be, the arguments for the cases, the Texas cases are being heard, the Mississippi cases and the Louisiana cases are being heard tomorrow. And then after that happens, then they'll be able to make a decision on whether it's constitutional or not. The only state that's ever said that it was constitutional was Louisiana. There was a Supreme Court, I think it was a district judge, not a Supreme Court justice, but as a district judge, upheld the state's refusal to recognize same-sex marriages performed legally in other states, saying that it was their right and it was some Christian bullshit. I don't know, as usual. So it was interesting that he was the only one that's actually come out and said that it's constitutional. Well, obviously he was speaking from his own bias, and that's the problem I have with the justice system. I have a lot of problems with the justice system. I just really think it's completely rigged. But one of the things is that people, human beings are judges. They're not gods. They're human beings, and they have their own biases. They have their own, religion or their own lifestyle or whatever it might be. And so those things influence their decisions. So the trick is finding a judge, obviously, that is going to be fair and equitable in their decision making, and not someone who is just ruling with an iron fist, and this is the way it's going to be because I say so, and that's what I think, instead of looking at it from a legal perspective. And that's what they're required to do by law. But most of the time judges get away with it, and they somehow say that it's legally precedented or something, but usually it's just their own biased opinion. So anyway, he was one of those, and he chose to just rule based on that. It's like, for me, for example, if I had a KKK member who's nonviolent. If I were a judge and had a KKK member who was nonviolent, who hated black people, who hated Hispanic people and Asian people and every other race besides the white one, and hated gay people and hated Jews, hated everybody that wasn't like him, and he was, I don't know, standing in front of someone's house on the sidewalk or the street and holding a sign up that said white power. Would I like that? Absolutely not. Would I want him to have the right to do that? No, but he has the right to do that, unfortunately. And so I would not rule that he cannot do that if it is not illegal for him to do so. If he's not, legally, if he's not somehow breaking the law, then there's no reason for me to put him in jail. So even if I wanted to personally put the man in prison or in jail for something that I find abhorrent, if the law says I can't because it's not the law, then I wouldn't. So, that's the kind of judges that we need, ones like me, obviously, ones that will rule on things based on the merits of the case and not based on their personal thoughts and decisions. And so it's really hard, I think, to find judges like that. I think that they're probably very few and far between and rare. And that's probably part of the problem with our justice system, is that we have a bunch of idiots, not idiots, but assholes on the bench who really just cannot fucking stand gay people or or Democrats or whatever it might be, or women sometimes, whatever, and they rule accordingly against according to their bias. So that's part of the problem. And there was a book I started reading. I can't remember. It's by Matt Taibbi. I think it's called The Great Divide. I think that's what it was called. And I have it in my iPad. I can't remember. I read the sample. I was going to download it and buy it, but I haven't done it yet. But it's called The Great Divide. And Matt Taibbi writes for the Rolling Stone, or used to write for Rolling Stone. I think now he writes for New Yorker or something. I can't remember. But he's, like my age. And he's always on like Bill Maher, if you've ever seen Bill Maher before. He's always on there, and a lot of other shows. But anyway, he's a very intelligent guy, and he reports on Wall Street and how they kind of are in the justice system and things, and how they're kind of, there's a huge divide in this country between black and white, between rich and poor, and this is not news to most people, and that it's growing, and between gay and straight, whatever. And this is just another example of that. So hopefully this will come out okay tomorrow, and things will be changed here. I live in Texas, where same-sex marriage is still considered illegal and considered, and they do not recognize marriages from out of state. My marriage to my husband, it was in Connecticut, and our marriage is not recognized by the state of Texas, even though it is now recognized federally by the IRS and by the federal government, et cetera. There are certain benefits you cannot get as a couple from the federal government because they're state run or whatever. So, and also there's the things in the state that you want to have recognition of your relationship by. So anyway. The good thing will be, if this ever happens, and it will happen, it's not if, it's just a matter of time. I've talked about this topic a million times on my show. I've had entire shows about it, and guests talking about it. I think that I know that it's just a matter of time before the entire country. Right now we have 39 states, I think, or is it 30? Yeah, I think it's like 39 states. It's like 70% of the country now has gay marriage in, their particular states. And that's over we were just like 17 states just a year ago. Before that, we were like 7. And then before that was like 4 or 5. So, it's just a matter of time. And these people who are so anti-gay and just hate us so much that we are just, oh my God, we're just most horrible things on earth. I think that honestly, it's for them, they're just idiots. They're ignorant, obviously, but also they're, as I've said before, products of their environment, and they are very scared or afraid that their way of life, as you want to put it that way, is going to change. And the funny thing is, almost all, the majority of gay people were raised by straight people and had a mother and a father at some point in their lives, and had them at some point as role models or whatever. And we were raised with the same kind of morality, or the same kind of traditional beliefs in some regards as they were. And so for people to think that gays are so different than them doesn't compute or make sense, because we are products of heterosexual people.